Welcome to another gear update for the recent patch 5.4, which will focus on all new opportunities that you can use to get brand new gear and increase your item level significantly from what you could get before the patch. Like always, note that this is a follow-up video in the series that I'm going to expand and continue the moment new gear is being introduced, but still some old ways and methods to earn equipment may or may not be outdated. So check out my previous gear compendiums if you're looking for a certain item specifically. Especially for those that haven't reached level 80 yet, all required info about the gear breakpoints on your leveling journey can be found in the first video of this series, found in the description. Nonetheless, let us cover all the new ways to earn gear, starting with the lowest but also easiest to get, Edenmete Gear, which has an exceptional design that is remarkable for what I have seen on all Eden or raid gear in general, and I'm definitely going to farm all of those pieces for glamour reasons alone. But of course, they also offer a 510 item level, which is a strong update coming from 480, 490 and even 500. So navigate towards Mortzuk in Armorang and accept the quest Worlds Apart to start the new Eden tier and enjoy a wonderful finale to the Eden story, with a perfectly fitting gear that design-wise and stat-wise is outstanding. And remember that there are some weekly limitations for this gear, as you can only receive 1 token per boss and each gear category has its own tokens, some costing more, some costing less. So check out which you're planning to get before queuing for the raid, and don't forget to collect 1 Blade of Lost Antiquity per week on the final boss, but more to that later with Cryptlurker gear. However, from a stat and item level perspective, Edenmete Gear is just the beginning, and if you find some useful stats on it, definitely keep some pieces. But with our next edition, most of those Eden normal pieces become obsolete, due to the fact and possibility of penta or overmelding, introducing the new Exarchic gear, which can be crafted or as a consequence of that found on the market board. The best news are that it's all item level 510 and the prices have already normalized to a point where most pieces you can get for most jobs really have a good value, and if you have found your ways and methods to earn some gil, they are the fastest way to go if you want to catch up with gear and boost your item level to 510 in no time. The most crucial aspect of that gear still is the possibility to overmeld or pentameld it, both standing for the same process to put more materia into a crafted item than it normally could, when we would be talking about a blue or purple gear piece. That of course comes at a very expensive price, as some materia will be destroyed in the process as you have a certain amount of failure attached to overmelding. And above that, blue accessories will naturally have 1 slot more for the big 60 stat materia than crafted gear. But apart from this, the additional stats do increase the value and raw item level of these crafted pieces even more, so that some of them, if you can use all stats, will make them much stronger than simple 510 gear pieces. So if you have some gil to spend, consider crafting or buying them, especially when you're still stuck on item level 480 or 490, but even on 500 they are really a nice boost to job's overall power. If you don't have a single clue about that penta overmelding topic or materia in general, check out my materia video where I cover all of these processes in detail. Another thing to note though is that with time passing by, this fair NPC will upgrade the Exarchic gear onto the item level 520 equipment in exchange for the gear itself plus currency bought with Allegri tomestones. So they are also kinda future proof as well, but most of them can definitely be considered on par with 520 item level pieces just due to the possibility to attach more materia than usual. So all in all, it sounds like a very expensive method to increase your item level and overall strength, but one that really pays out in the first weeks and will also have a solid use in the long run. So maybe also consider leveling up your crafting jobs, as this will decrease the cost of those items significantly and grants you another chance of earning some gil or reclaiming the costs you've spent for the Exarchic stuff. And don't worry, leveling crafting jobs has become way easier than ever before, so definitely take that into consideration. Before coming to the Dark Souls looking tombstone gear, I have to talk about some really big fat tacos, namely emerald weapons, that are item level 515 and most of them are a fair upgrade compared to Exarchic gear. But when you have bad stats on them, overmelded Exarchic gear can be the better choice, and even on solid stats on those emerald weapons, Exarchic gear comes very close to it, or at least to a point where you won't see the difference at all. But surely, if you want to save some gil and want to do that anyways, while also looking for the design of this set, it is a good way to get a small upgrade before hopping into the next stage. Emerald weapon can be unlocked by starting the quest Blood of Emerald near Porta Pretoria in the logs, but of course the prerequisite is to have completed the Ruby weapon questline. If that is secured, start the quest and complete Emerald weapon on normal difficulty to unlock its extreme version. Here, each victory will grant your group a random weapon, together with tokens that again can be exchanged in Mordona against emerald weapons. Most of the times, extreme trials are easier to complete than savage content, so enjoy some big fat tacos and go for it. Next up, we should talk about the new Cryptlurker gear, which definitely produces some really intense Dark Souls vibes, and yes, Square declined that they worked in collaboration with From Software, but then they at least have copied their design pages or have stolen their designer directly. Anyways, while looking insanely gothic and medieval, they bring with a solid item level 520 and can simply be received by grinding the newest currency called Tomestones of Revelation. Note that those have a weekly cap of 450, so you should definitely cap them each week, with A-rank trains, duty roulettes, or by simply doing endgame content over and over again. The biggest deal with them, they can be upgraded. For now, only by receiving certain tokens from the newest Eden raid in its difficult Savage version, but with later follow-up patches, new ways of earning the required upgrade materials will be added, like Sack of Nuts or weekly tokens from the Yorha raid series, for example. And at this point, and when reaching item level 530, they will become one part of the best in slot gear. So start choosing those pieces with stats on them that are the best for your job you play, or want to take seriously in gearing up. Spend them wisely, get your weekly cap, and above all, enjoy the fantastic design. But there's one exception, that like everything else on these gearing matters follows the same scheme with every tier, the weapon. This can only be received by exchanging 1000 Tomestones of Revelation against Moen's tokens on Imark, together with a defragmented tombstone that is bought with 7 Blades of Lost Antiquity. The blade is a weekly limited drop that can be received upon completing the last Eden boss on its normal difficulty, so make sure to do this fight at least once per week together with capping Revelation tombstones. Last but not least, we got the Edenmorn set, which is received by taking part in Eden's Promise Savage. And as this is kinda the high-end content for raiding right now, you should definitely have checked all the gear boxes of the gear before. Otherwise, this raid could be nearly impossible to beat, but on the other hand, the difficulty scaling in there works a bit differently. Most of the times the first boss can be defeated without too much effort, so that you're able to farm yourself strong accessories each week that again will decrease the power level requirements of the next bosses. But as this is the strongest content apart from the ultimate right now, don't stress it. You got the whole time until the next expansion launches to clear it. And for those who already did, remember that there are weekly loot limitations as well, where bosses drop 2 to 3 chests where items are being rolled between party members, and if you take someone with you that already cleared the boss for that 1 week, the chest count is reduced. Above that, each boss will drop these books that can be exchanged against Edenmorn Gear or upgrade materials for your Cryptlurker gear. So choose wisely which of these you want to get first. And again, these pieces will become part of the best in slot gear for this tier, so try to mix and match them with upgraded Cryptlurker equipment for the stats your job is aiming for. Or if you're greedy and nobody else needs it, take the high item level over the 510 stuff. But before ending this gear compendium, like with all big patches, there's new Glamour gear. This time featuring the Calfskin rider set that is literally a biker set with sneakers and leather jacket. So if you're going for a ride on your chocobo, this set could be a cool addition to your collection, though being on the more expensive side of things, with leather workers enjoying to make a good coin with it. Okay, so much for the first part of this patch, and like always, I will keep this series updated so that you can find all important gear which can really be hidden away from access if you're new to this game or have taken a break. So thank you for watching, and if there's anything missing, let me know in the comment section. And above all, enjoy the new patch, Eden's Promise, Emerald Weapon, and the true Glamour endgame with many fantastic sets that look gorgeous, and maybe the best Square ever brought in a content patch. Until next time, keep grinding Revelation Tomestones, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep loving Final Fantasy.